Hey girl, it's Araya Morel, and girl, in today's video, I'll be sharing with you my online class essentials. Now, if you've watched me for a while, then you'll know that I use the term essentials very lightly. When I say essentials, I don't mean that
if you don't buy these things, if you don't have them, then your online class experience is going to be terrible.
Not at all. When I say essentials, I just mean these are things that I think will make you more comfortable, will make you a little bit more efficient, more organized for online classes based on my experiences and what has worked for me and what has helped me. So again, I'm not saying that you absolutely need all of these things. If some of these things happen to appeal to you and if you think you can benefit from them, then that's great. Anyways, I do have a special announcement. So you guys probably know that I do have an ongoing back to school giveaway that is ending, I think a few days from when this video will be posted. Well, I decided to add a part 2 to that giveaway. Basically, in part 2 of this giveaway, you'll be winning the exact same Muji items and the mechanics are exactly the same. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel and turn on my post notifications by clicking that little bell. Number 2, follow me on Instagram at Ryan Morel, and lastly, comment down below your Instagram username. Yeah, so I will pick the winner of the first giveaway on August 18 as scheduled, and I'll pick the winner of the next giveaway exactly a month from now, which I don't really know when this video is going up, so I'll just put it over here. That's about it. Now let's get on and talk about my essentials. First, we're going to start with electronics. Now, since most of us, I'm pretty sure, entering the new school year digitally online, the first essential, of course, is a device. So whatever device that you choose really depends on you, depends on what you have right now. But please do not be pressured to purchase a new device just because school is now online. As long as your device has a screen, as long as it can connect to Wi-Fi, then that should work fine. But for you guys who are thinking of getting a new device for online classes, I'm going to talk about your options a little bit, because when I asked you guys for video requests, I did get a lot of requests to do a MacBook versus iPad video. As much as I want to make that, I am not that knowledgeable about technology, about these devices that I can create a whole 10-minute video about them. So I decided to just talk about that really quickly here. So we're going to talk about which device you should get as a student. So if you don't really want to hear that because you're like, I don't really care about the iPad or the MacBook, then that is fine. I completely understand. Just skip to this timestamp. Ta-da! So if you are considering getting a new device for the school year, you probably have 3 options in mind: an iPad, a MacBook, or an iMac, or a tablet, a laptop, or a desktop. So I will immediately, no offense, but I will immediately rule out a desktop just because of portability. I feel like you will not be able to make the most out of it just because you can literally only use it at home. You know, that might not be an issue since we are going to be studying from home, but once we do resume to physical classes, it is going to be very important to have something you can bring to school. Yeah, so I'll say don't even think about getting a desktop, get a tablet or a laptop instead. So now we are going to be talking about if you should get an iPad or a MacBook. So to help you decide, there are 2 factors you should consider. Number 1 is your budget. How much are you willing to invest on a new device? Because more often than not, an iPad or a tablet is going to be significantly cheaper than a laptop or a MacBook. But let's say that budget really isn't an issue for you, then the next factor you should consider is your purpose. What do you plan on using the device for? So there are also 2 things you need to think about. Number 1, academics, because there are some courses that require the use of computer programs. I'm pretty sure that engineering has one, that architecture has one. If your course requires you to use a computer program regularly, then a smart choice for you would be to buy a laptop instead. Number 2, your hobbies. So let's be real. When we buy devices for online classes, for school, they're not really just for school. They're for our enjoyment as well, for sure. So you need to think about, what else do I plan to do with this device? For example, if you're an artist, you like to create digital art, then a clear choice for you would be the iPad, because you have Procreate, you have the Apple Pencil, it's touchscreen, it'll allow you to actually draw. So it really depends what you plan to use your device for, but essentially those are the main factors you have to consider. So again, your budget and your purpose. So for me, at least, just in case you're wondering what I use each device for, on my MacBook, this is where I edit videos. On Final Cut Pro, I edit my thumbnails here on Photoshop, and whenever I write papers or anything on Google Drive, I still prefer using my MacBook. Now for my iPad, iPad. This is where I write my notes. All of my journals, all of my digital notebooks are on GoodNotes. I read on the Kindle. All my books are here. I practice drawing on Procreate. Everything else, like watching Netflix, playing Spotify, I do on both. Our next essential is related to devices, and if you guys have watched my recent videos, then you'll probably know what's coming up next because I have been obsessed with these items. So let's say it in 3, 2, 1, stands. I have been so obsessed with stands. I'm just gonna quickly show you my favorite stand. By the way, anything that you can buy online, I'll have it linked down below. First is this MacBook stand, my favorite. Now I like using this when I'm watching Netflix, when I'm video calling, when I'm editing videos. But if I'm working or writing a paper or just typing a lot, I prefer this MacBook stand just because it's not that elevated so my wrists aren't like hanging, you know. Then we have this iPad stand and this iPhone stand. And I definitely, again, recommend stands because number one, it's just great for your posture. Because your devices are going to be elevated, you're not going to slouch as much. You're going to be forced to fix your posture, you know, sit up straight. Number two, it's just great for caring for your devices in general because when you put your devices on stands, there's like a good air ventilation system because they're elevated, so air is constantly like cooling it. Like my MacBook girl, my MacBook used to overheat like every single day. Every time I'd use Final Cut Pro or Photoshop, but now, I kid you not, it does not overheat anymore, which is great, obviously. And lastly, it's just good for video calls, you know? When your devices are on a higher angle, you just look better. Hide a little bit of your double chin, and it's just more flattering in general, which is why I always have my MacBook on a stand whenever I'm on a video call. So yeah, that's why I recommend stands. Next essential are earphones or headphones, and I definitely recommend that you use earphones or headphones when you're doing your online classes, just so that you're not disturbing anyone else at home because they probably don't want to hear your professor's lectures. And also, if you're reciting, the audio is just way better if you're wearing earphones or headphones. And if you are about to purchase headphones or earphones, one factor you should definitely prioritize is comfort, how comfortable it is, because girl, we're gonna be wearing this for probably like 4, 5, 6 hours, so we really want our earphones or headphones to be as comfortable as possible. So my earphones of choice are the AirPods. I prefer this because I personally find them very comfortable. The next essential is an extension cord. Now, if you're someone like me who likes to charge all their devices at once, this is definitely going to be an essential for you because I just like having my devices plugged in so that I don't have to worry about it running out of battery in the middle of class or in the middle of a meeting. Oh, and also another essential for me that I like to keep plugged in is this. And this is a mini router or like a Wi-Fi extension, a Wi-Fi booster. So this is great if your Wi-Fi connection isn't that strong in your room or wherever your workspace is because girl, I think we all know that Wi-Fi in the Philippines is just absolute shiz, especially if you live in a house with multiple floors. Most of the time the Wi-Fi is only super strong at the floor where the router is, and my room isn't at the same floor as our Wi-Fi router, which is why I have this. And this basically just strengthens the Wi-Fi signal in your room, which again is going to be an absolute essential for online classes. So if you're someone who struggles with poor Wi-Fi signal in your room, then this might be a quick fix to that. The next essential is not with me right now because I literally just placed an order for it like 3 days ago, and those are blue light glasses. Now, I know blue light glasses are kind of like some people think they work, some people think it's just a marketing scam. Basically, blue light glasses are meant to protect you from the blue light, and some people do recommend wearing blue light glasses when you are staring at a screen for a long period of time, which all of us are gonna do when online classes start. For me, I decided to use it just because it's really affordable and there's really no harm in wearing it. Like if it doesn't have any benefits, then it's okay, it's just glasses, you know, and if it does, then that's absolutely great. Next essential is a uniform. Now, if you've watched my back to school series for a while now, like the past 2 years, then you'll know that every single year I make a uniform video. Basically a video where I share with you guys my uniform for the year. So now that classes are online, I was thinking if I should still create a uniform for myself, and I decided yes. And not because of the time or stress factors, but it's more for like my mental transitioning. Because whenever I read about these productivity tips, like how to stay productive even if you're working working from home, a tip that almost everyone gives is to get ready as if you're actually going out to work, actually going out to school. So for me, that would mean wearing my uniform. So if you think that you will also struggle with just turning school mode on, I definitely recommend that you try just designating an outfit for school. Okay, this next essential is weird and random, but trust me, it's gonna be a lifesaver. A yoga block. Hear me out. One thing that's gonna be an absolute essential thing to do once online classes start is stretching. Because I am a 21-year-old with the back of a 40-year-old. So whenever I'm sitting for a while, my lower back starts to hurt, my shoulders start to hurt, like they start to ache and feel really heavy. So I end up slouching and I feel so heavy and tired and sore. Girl, a quick fix to that is to just stretch. So what is a yoga block for? Obviously, you don't need a yoga block to stretch. You can just use your body. But I find that if you really want to deeply stretch your lower back and your shoulders, there's so many amazing stretches you can do using a yoga block. You just search it on Google. Next essential are planners, but not your typical like little book planner, because I don't know about you, but when I'm not in physical school, like if I'm not actually going to school, physical planners just don't work for me. I really feel bad for my planner because I haven't touched her in literally like 5 months, ever since the physical classes ended. But alternative planners that do work for me are number one, a whiteboard. For me, a whiteboard as a planner is just so essential because it just ensures that I really don't forget a deadline, because it's literally staring at me. It's just on my wall. It's something that I look at every single day, and I have the 18 by 24 inch whiteboard, which I know is very specific, but it's actually a very common size, and I definitely recommend that size because it's big enough to fit like a template for a monthly calendar and a weekly calendar. So definitely recommend that. The next planner option is Google Calendar, and if you guys watched last Wednesday's video, then you'll know exactly how I use a Google Calendar, why I love it so much. So if you want to know more about how to use a Google Calendar, how I suggest you set it up, then I'll have that video linked down below, or just click this card over here. Next essential is another basic one, and that is a binder and a pen, or a notebook and a pen, or an iPad and an Apple Pencil. Basically just something to write notes on. It can be very tempting to just not write any notes because the presentations will be handed to you, the modules will be handed to you, so you don't really have to take notes. Like you can kind of just use the presentation or the modules, but I still definitely recommend that you still take notes, make your own notes, write extra stuff that your professor is mentioning. It'll just help you retain information and help you study. Now, the last and most important essential is gonna sound very cheesy, but please know that I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, and that is kindness and empathy. And I decided to add this to my list of essentials after I read this very heartbreaking post by a professor on ADMU Freedom Wall, which is Ateneo's anonymous Facebook page. After I read this post, it was like my bubble just burst. Because when I think of online classes, I think about how much I'm probably gonna struggle, how I'm probably gonna find it very difficult to adjust, how it's probably gonna be very stressful for me. It's all me, 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 me. And this post was just a huge reminder that it's not all about you. You're not the only one who's struggling. You're not the only one who's gonna have difficulty adjusting. Everyone is. You just need to remember that it doesn't hurt to be a little bit more kind and show a little bit more empathy to everyone. So yeah, those are all my essentials for online classes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next Saturday, 2 p.m. Bye, girl!